How do you know if the stuff you're watching is good for you? Lately, I've been out of my zero entertainment phase and have gone into a sort of phase where, because I'm working on my stuff so much and I feel so exhausted afterwards, I kind of just allow myself to watch some entertainment because it's just very, very boring to only ever do my work, unfortunately, for now, because I just find editing to be very boring, and that's what I've been mainly doing the past month or so. So, the entertainment I've been watching, I question whether or not it's actually good for me. I know sometimes I do end up watching some things related to news, and I don't like that's like number one. I don't like that at all because I know it's not good for me. I know that it gets me into a state of mind that is quite negative. And of course, you want to be informed and all that stuff, but usually when I talk to my friends or hang out with my friends, they do mention stuff about that. So it's not like I will never be informed. I will, even if I didn't watch it. So to me, that already can be considered not good stuff to consume. But what are the good stuff? So lately, I thought I might as well talk about like the stuff I watched a lot recently. Diary of a CEO, I've mentioned that one a lot. I like it a lot because it's usually experts in some field talking about something that I find that I've learned something from. But sometimes it's also a little sensational for sure. There are some sensational videos that he has where they talk about things that don't necessarily, like I feel like I didn't actually learn that much from it, I guess. But there was a recent one that I watched. His most recent one was about, it was like philosophy plus religion and how people are sort of losing this sort of motivation or purpose in their lives, and a lot of people are turning to religion for that and whatnot. So that's what the discussion was about, and I found it very, very interesting. I found it a good listen for sure. I myself I would consider myself agnostic. I've thought about it quite a bit when I was in college. I don't really think about it these days much at all. I've had a few experiences with religion just because of my friends, and I've been to some events related to religion. So I've gotten a chance to interact with that community a bit, and I do think that it is a very good community overall, like to have. So that aspect of it I really enjoy. And hearing about, it's kind of crazy because in that episode of The Diary of CEO, I can't remember exactly, Alex O'Connor, I think is his name. He was the guy that represented the atheist agnostic side, and he is so well spoken and well versed with the Bible. It's kind of crazy how insanely well versed he is with the Bible, and that's what I was watching a lot of. Personally, for me, I think the most important aspect of religion is the spiritual aspect and how it tells you to do good and things related to that versus the actual, did this actually happen in history and stuff like that. Because in my mind, I'm like, yeah, it's just a story. Most of it is just a story. Nobody can prove anything about what was written in those stories, especially since there are so many. The episode itself taught me a lot, which was that there's a lot of conflicting stories, basically, and points in those stories. So that's kind of how I see it. It's just a story that's supposed to teach you good things, and a lot of people interpret it differently, and you take, in my opinion, that's fine. Like, just take away the best things from it, and yeah. That's sort of my conclusion from it, but after I watched that video, I ended up watching more things related to Alex O'Connor and just watching debates happen, and made me kind of inspired to like try to also talk to more people, because I feel like I always talk to myself, and oftentimes when I'm talking with my friends, it does sometimes get to a point where it's like we do talk a little bit about philosophy, but usually it's more general stuff. If I don't ever open my mouth, usually it's just really, really regular stuff about, how people are doing, what they've been up to, and Yeah, but I want to try to get into more of those conversations where it's more of a intellectual debate in a way. Just because I feel like I have a history where I like debate. I've in school whenever I did debate, it was always really fun to me. So I wanna try to do that eventually. Not anytime necessarily soon, but that's what I've been watching. And then Jubilee, I've been watching a few of those videos as well where people just have those debates as well. And that's probably what gets me into it, into wanting to do it more. And I know a lot of Jubilee is basically like, what is it called? Rage bait content, where it's basically meant for you to like click on it, watch it, and it's kind of like you get angry about how people think or respond or talk to each other, because there's like so many rude people who are just there to basically they're mean spirited. They're not actually trying to debate or listen to anyone. They're just there to scream out their point and say the other person's wrong. I mean, that's how a lot of people are, and that's fine. I mean, I don't know. That's how the people are in Jubilee's videos, oftentimes, more often than not. And I guess it's just what you see. I don't think most people are actually like that. I think it's just they invite these people who have a higher likelihood of being like that, which is why people accuse Jubilee of rage baiting. So yeah, I take back what I said earlier. I don't think most people are like that. In my life, I have not come across a lot of people like that at all. So I don't think it's a good reflection of reality. And I let my mind slip just for a second, saying that a lot of people are like that, but I take it back, like I said. Anyways, other than that, yeah, it's oftentimes I just leave anime in the background while I do some work, just because I'm watching it with no subtitles and it's good to just continuously listen to Japanese. So that's what I've been watching lately, and I think it's good because I've managed to not turn on subtitles at all for the past, I think, 2 weeks for anything that I watch. So I'm very happy that I've gotten to the point where I'm like, yeah, I can understand, I'd say 75% of what's being actually said, like every word, 75%, not actually just through context, but like the words themselves. And it's thanks to the kanji challenge that I did, learning 300 in 30 days, and I'm still going. I'm up to 360. So I'm just gonna keep going until I learn basically every kanji symbol I need for JLPTN2. And maybe even beyond that, just for fun. But after, yeah, because I'm doing that, I'm also learning a lot of vocab at the same time. So the more I watch, the more I actually hear the vocab I learn being used. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know that word. I just learned it like the other day. And it's just such a fun process, honestly. Like language learning is one of the most fun activities I've done in a while. And I've been doing it for the past year or two, ever since my Japan era started. So that's been really, really good. And right now I'm actually rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh! In Japanese. It's so different from the original. It's kind of crazy how different it is. I actually think the dub, the English dub is, I call that the original because in my mind, that's what I watched first, but obviously the Japanese is the original. For the English dub, I loved it a lot. I rewatched Yu-Gi-Oh! So many times, I think like 3 or 4 times. And the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Not like GX or anything beyond, but I really, really love that anime. So just going through it in Japanese and getting to listen to it, it's so interesting how different it is. But very fun. But anyways, to actually give a good answer to the question I introduced in the video, I think the type of content, at least for me right now, that I want to try to like stay away from are things like the Jubilee videos, unfortunately. I find them interesting and fun, mostly because I like observing the people who debate well. I think if there's anything you can take away from those videos, is not the points, but but the approach of how certain people are able to debate with such a cool head, or they're being very respectful, yet they make very good points, and they actually get the other person to a position or a place where they have to be more thoughtful. They have to actually generate new ideas. And I think that's like the best kind of debate, where you get the other person to think about something they've never thought about, which actually can make a difference in ideas, right? In how we think. And I think that's the point of debate. So if anything, there's always something you can extract from whatever entertainment you watch, except if it's like, sometimes I watch Philip DeFranco. Like, back then, for a little bit, I watched him, and then now sometimes I watch him, like, again, I get into these states where I'm like so tired and whatever that I just end up doing bad habits, which is watching. I'm not saying Philip DeFranco is a bad thing to watch necessarily, but it's mostly just an outpour of news, and usually it's very negative. So I don't think it's good to watch at all. Like, I think that definitively is not good to watch. And that's not to say, like I said, I think Philip DeFranco is a cool guy, but I don't think his content is healthy to watch on a daily basis, is what I'm trying to say. But I know that also implies the message of like, you should probably not watch his stuff. But yeah, I think he would actually agree as well. Like, mental health wise, it's not good to consistently watch that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's something I need to stay away from. And then the stuff that I'm consuming more, which helps me learn something, helps inspire something, helps motivate me in some way. Like, I watch a lot of Alex Hormozy, and he's a very good resource to motivate you to do something, to continue with your project, to focus in, to push yourself harder and give more and whatnot. And I don't mind it. I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's very toxic productivity stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, to each their own. It's like, he's literally just saying, work harder and, focus in. That's it. It's like, to me, it doesn't really matter that much in terms of like what someone tells you to do, as long as they're giving decent, good advice and they're inspiring you and motivating you. I don't consider that toxic personally for me, but everyone will have their own way of seeing things. Anyways, this video was definitely a ramble. I feel like I still need to recover a bit. I'm not fully back to normal from being from feeling terrible basically 3 days ago as of now. But I wanted to record this for tomorrow, so I don't have to like always be recording on the day of and uploading it. But yeah, I wanted to sort of talk about that just because it was on my mind, and the only sort of novelty thing in my mind, because I have been consuming these things recently, like yesterday and the day before, because I didn't feel well. So those are kind of days where I consume the most stuff. I'm probably gonna try to clear up my head again and only watch things at night again, because usually what I like to do, or at least if I'm not doing zero entertainment, which I think this year I've had a really good track record of doing at least 50%. So at least around 180 days of just nothing, like watching absolutely nothing. But for now, if I'm going to do that because I'm so bored with my work, then I need to make sure I'm consuming something like decent, and also making sure that it only happens like towards the end of the day. Because usually it would only start during dinner, and I think that's fine. That's like just 2 to 3 hours, and most of the time I'm like working while something's on the background at night, so it's like not wasted completely. Okay, that's it for this one. I will hopefully build up some more stamina, and hopefully my brain gets back to normal too, because I definitely feel slower. I feel very, very slow, and I'm definitely not performing as well as I want to with how I'm speaking and my thoughts and conveying them and everything. everything just feels slower. Okay, that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.